Hi, how's it going? I'm Matt and welcome back to SuperCard Models. I'm working on the R34 GTR build today, of course. And last week, or in last week's video, what I did was I worked on this kind of side window area and the parts that run down the C pillar and the B pillar and across the roof and down the front of the A pillar. But it's not finished, it needs a bunch more work yet. I really want to get this area done. I think the first thing I want to do is work out how actually I'm going to attach this section to the car properly. What I've done across the top of this piece is I built these three main tabs along here, and each of those has a little section on each side of the tab to help kind of stand off the top of this part by a certain amount from the edge of the roof line or the roof gutter to give the overall width of the roof kind of the proportions or the dimensions that I needed. But those three little tabs just kind of aren't particularly strong. It's not really going to hold it in there very well, so I might come up with a different way to handle that. And then down in this bottom section here, as I mentioned in the last video, it needs a bracket or something underneath to hold it in the right shape and hold it securely in place. So yeah, I need to work out those two main things first before I carry on with any of the extra details that are needed on this part. So yeah, let's get started and see what we can do. Good, so I've modified those two pieces and I've done a test cut out of paper just to make sure they fit okay, and the fit looks great. I'm happy with that. Now you can see what I've done is, this is the older piece. I've replaced these three tabs here with tabs. I've extended the width of this roof panel and put the tabs on that instead so that the edge of this side piece can just glue directly onto those tabs. I think that's probably a better way to do it. But I have just realized that I should have left another row of tabs on this part still because I've got like a kind of a roof gutter trim piece that will run across the edge, across the top like that we'll need to glue onto those. So I need to add those tabs back onto this part. What I'll do now is go ahead and add those tabs back in to this edge here, and then I can cut both of those out of cardboard, but I'll do that off camera because you don't really need to see me cut those parts out again. So I'll see you very shortly when I've done that. All right, good, so it's the next day, and yesterday what I did was I finished making this roof piece and assembling the side window part all in cardboard using the new designs, the new parts. I didn't film myself making the window piece and the trim that goes around the outside. If you want to see me doing that, you can check out last week's video. But yeah, it's just the same as this old previous version. So yeah, you can see that what I've done is I've used two large tabs that act as kind of like locating tabs, and they kind of slot into the recesses made by the slots that are the tabs that I've used in this roof part. And I've also added back in this row of tabs around the top of the side roof part here, and then I'll attach like a trim piece that runs along the side of the gutter and the roof onto those ones. So yeah, that's all looking really, really good. I think what I need to do now is make this bracket part that goes underneath this part to kind of hold it into the right kind of curved shape, and also hold it in place at the bottom. So yeah, I'll start working out the shape of that one and drawing that up, and I can cut that one out of cards. So let's do that now. Alright, awesome. So I've made and fit that kind of lower bracket piece with all the tabs. So I think I have enough attachment points now to be able to glue this entire side window piece onto the car. So yeah, let's start doing that. I'll probably start with this lower edge here, attach that section, and then kind of work my way around the top, gluing all the different points and all the different tabs. So yeah, let's get started gluing this on. Awesome, so that's glued in place now and it looks really good, really happy with that. The fit is great, and the shape and everything, like the curve kind of this way looks really good, and the way that it curves around towards the back of the car like that looks really good. So yeah, that's a win. Awesome. One good tip to know when I'm doing something like this is I put a book and a couple of weights on the opposite side of the car, like pressed up against the edge of the car like that, so that I can push against and press against the part that I'm gluing, and I'm not going to push the entire car that way. It kind of stops it from moving. So yeah, that's a good tip to know. So the next part that I'll make is probably the outer body panel piece that runs up the C pillar, across the top of the B pillar, and down the front of the A pillar. So one continuous piece that runs all the way around. It shouldn't be too hard to make because the shape of it is basically exactly the same as what I've made for this lower cardboard piece already. I just need to make it a bit narrower to follow this kind of section like that. Yeah, so I'll draw it up, cut it out of a sheet that I've already painted, spray painted Bayside Blue, and yeah, we'll see if we can get that glued on. Awesome, so that piece fit up really good. Damn, it's so good to see some blue on that kind of C pillar and across the top of the roof and down the front of the A pillar now. It's just because it's just been sitting black for so long. So yeah, looks great. Awesome. Next thing what I'll do is start working on a few more of the details for the side here. There's a weather seal strip that runs from here down the front of the A pillar. And what I'll do is I'll just cut that out of 1000 GSM cardboard, so like quite thick cardboard to give it some depth and some thickness. And should be pretty quick to make because it's basically the same shape as these parts here. It's just kind of a little bit thinner. So yeah, I'll draw that up, print that out, cut it out of the card and glue that one on. Great, so that's that weather seal strip piece on, and that turned out really, really good, and it was super easy to do. Great, so the next part to do is probably this B pillar garnish, and what I'm going to do is make the kind of Nismo carbon fiber looking version. So what I've done is I found a few reference images of this carbon fiber Nismo B pillar garnish piece online. What I need to do is count the amount of individual strands of carbon fiber it has, and just to make sure I replicate that really accurately when I draw it in Illustrator, just to make sure it looks really, really realistic. And I also need to find a version of the Nismo logo, maybe vectorize that, trace that, import it into Illustrator, and use that in the artwork as well, just to make it look really realistic. Yeah, and then I'll print it out on glossy photo paper, cut that out, glue it in place on the car, and it should look pretty good. So yeah, let's get busy making that part. Right, so I've got that B pillar garnish fitted now, and that looks really good. You can see how I printed it on glossy photo paper, so it looks like glossy carbon, so yeah, nice. The last thing that I'll do in this video is probably work out what I'm doing through this section here. Now, as you can see in the last video, what I did was I fitted this piece of foam board to act as kind of like the top of the door weather seal, weather strip, but it's kind of in the wrong place, like it's sitting a little bit too far back that way. And all it really needs is a piece of card, maybe kind of coming through here like this, attaching at the bottom of the B pillar, and maybe attaching at that part at the front where the mirror is going to sit, maybe something simple like that. So I might actually remove that, work up a new piece just out of card to go along the bottom here, and get that fitted. So let's get started. Nice, so I just quickly threw together a weather seal strip for the top of the door here. Might need a bit more work, like it's kind of just a little bit temporarily kind of attached there. So yeah, I need to develop that a little bit more. But for now, get the idea. I think the shape and the size and the profile of it and everything is pretty good. So yeah, great. Okay, good. So that's all I've got time for in this video. What I'm going to do next is probably start on something a little bit different. So start working on windows for a week or two, and maybe try building like the side skirts or something like that. So check out next week's video to see how I get on with that. And thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.